What happens to old people who can't afford a nursing home and don't have family? 1. I had an old lady that lived in an apartment a couple doors down. She started having lots of medical problems and couldn't live alone. The apartment complex was raising the rent almost $100 a month. I ended up looking for a house and moved her in with me. She referred to me as her son and I called her mom. 5 years later she passed from a collection of problems, basically old age. I believe those were some of the best years of her life. I'm lost without her. Her family didn't show up until after I had completed her final wishes, including cremation. They demanded stuff that she had gotten rid of 10 years ago. One of the cousins even tried to take the house, assuming it was hers. I know why she wouldn't talk to her family now. 2. My mother-in-law ended up in a nursing home for the last 5 years of her life. The first 2 were great, for she used the proceeds of her house to have a private room. When the money ran out, the nursing home allowed her to stay and Medicaid paid for the care. However, there was no money for her to have those small items that make life pleasurable. Our family provided her with a daily newspaper subscription, a weekly hair appointment, a little money for treats for the grandkids, decent clothes, and cable for the TV. This came to about $300 plus a month. Her last years were very happy for her. The grandkids loved to visit her. Other guests in the home only had Medicaid and they had a much different experience. They had none of the little things that turn bare existence into a happy life. Bottom line, we all need help, from the government and from others. If you have a relative in a home, visit and help them with the little things. If you are lucky to not have someone in a home, donate to help the aged die with dignity. 3. I am 78 and live alone in my big house of 30 years. The house is too big. The yard is too big. I can't afford upkeep or a yard man. I hope to get one more summer of mowing the lawn before I absolutely can't anymore. It takes me 3 days. I have 3 kids. I couldn't live with my son as he is very critical of everything. My daughter lives out of state. I have one more daughter who might be able to live with me, but she is unreliable. Costs of everything are rising. I barely get by on my SS check. I was an RN in hospitals for 43 years. I made good money. Now I know we can never count on savings, people, and costs of living. It's tough. I would hope I would be brave enough to off myself when I can no longer take care of myself. I thank God every day for my strong body and mind and having a roof over my head and food on the table. I have been so fortunate in this way. My body is failing, but I accept it. Bodies get old. Pain creeps in. I tolerate that as well. I live in a beautiful state and have 3 dogs to keep me company. I am blessed. 4. A friend of mine was in this exact situation. He got kicked out of a nursing home because he couldn't pay for it. He ended up in a roach-infested trailer house. I saw it myself. I opened my home up to him. He did not want to stay. He had many medical problems including dialysis treatments twice a week. He would have died without his dialysis. He sent all his money to a scammer that told him he won the lottery or inherited $1 million or some such thing. I had a tough talk with him. The toughest kind of talk that a person can have with their friend. He became upset with me. I tried to tell him there was no $1 million. He told me I would split it with him if I would just take him down to the Western Union, or someplace. I told him that I wouldn't do it. It was one of the toughest things I have ever had to say to someone. I just explained that I couldn't be a part of his victimization. He would not listen. He would not accept my help or even my friendship. I did everything I could think of to help him get care. I also called the state because his house was not appropriate for habitation. His landlord was taking advantage of him. 2. He got a few home healthcare visits, but I don't think it helped. It just ended up with me getting some phone calls as his emergency contact. There was very little that could be done. It is a painful experience for me, to this day. I wish I had done more. 5. I took care of my mother for as long as I physically could. When it got to the point where she needed more help than I could give her, she ended up in a nursing home. She has no money, but the county and Medicaid pay for her stay. I think it's terrible that there are parts of the country that don't take care of their elderly. 6. My mom made $800 per month SS. That's it. But she lived in a rent-controlled assisted living apt, had help with her utilities and groceries, and had someone come in to help her shower, clean house, and shop 3 days a week. That's why social services exist. Of course my brother and I helped when we could, but she did not need our help to get by. This was just 2 years ago. 7. When my 87-year-old aunt was in the hospital with a serious infection, she was in a 4-bed ward housing men and women. The occupational therapist came in to talk to us about inspecting my aunt's home to see if she could return there. We discussed options for my aunt if she would not be able to return. After the therapist left, the old man in the bed across from my aunt asked me if I could help him plan what he should do after his release from hospital. Apparently he had no family or friends who could help him. I regretfully told him I was not in a position to help and he should speak to his medical staff about his options.